Welcome to Email and Beyond, the podcast bringing you the latest email marketing and other complementary marketing channel tips, tricks, industry chat, brand insights, and more every 2 weeks. Join me, Richard Wall, Marketing Campaign Manager at Spotler, and Kate Barrett, Founder and CEO of eFocus Marketing, as we talk you through the good, the bad, and the ugly of marketing, and how you can create a more intelligent strategy that gets results.
Welcome back to another episode of Email and Beyond. And today, we're talking a little bit of the beyond when it comes to email, but something that is critically important and you cannot do your email marketing well without it. And that is data. And different types of data, because with the change in laws recently coming in, what can we do? What can't we do? What is there? So, Richard, where should we start? Should we start at the top or at the bottom with the data?
Let's begin at the beginning. That sounds
Okay.
very nice. Also a quiet literary reference, if anyone gets it. Drop us a link under the YouTube comments from where that's from. If we begin at the beginning, we're not going to go at the first thing, we're going to do one beyond that. Zero-party data. It's a thing. It sounds weird. Kate, what is it?
Okay, so zero-party data is information that your subscribers have given you intentionally. So they filled it in on your sign-up form. They filled it in a preference center. They've specifically told you it. So it could be demographic data about who they are as a person, and that kind of links into the psychographic side of getting their interests as well. But it could be name, it could be address, it could be what their interests are. It could be firmographic information. So if you're dealing B2B, like you do, Richard, then it could be company size, the amount of people in the company, industry type, stuff that they're telling you. So now this data is brilliant. Don't get me wrong, this data is brilliant. It's from the horse's mouth, it's connecting straight in with what they want right now. But there's a problem with this type of data. So for me, I call this known data. So the issue is that if someone tells you some known data today, that known data may not be true in 6 months or 12 months. If they move house, if they move jobs, if they have another child, if they get married and change their name, all of this can change what it is that they've told you in that known data. And even if we think about it from the psychographic point of view and the interests, what people actually tell you versus what their interests actually are. Maybe they don't even know what their interests are. They haven't had the full exposure to what you offer to be able to say, yes, I'm interested in X, Y, and Z. So we need to take it with a pinch of salt. We need to layer it with other data that we'll talk about in a minute, but we need to keep this zero-party data updated if we can, so prompt people to go back to your preference centers and sign up. Maybe use a 2-step chain sign-up process. So in the first step, they give you your business-critical data, what you need to know about them to get them signed up. And in step 2, you say, thank you, you're now registered, you're now signed up. Tell us a little bit more about you so that we can tailor your communications. So think about this type of data as your baseline, your starting point for your data, but make sure you build on it, make sure you update it, and don't solely rely on it. One of the things that I see a lot of clients doing is saying, okay, we need new data. We need to know this about our subscribers, whether they're B2B or B2C. And actually, sometimes with a little bit of thinking outside the box, it's not always zero-party data that you want to get it from. There are lots of other types within your kind of data ecosystem.
Sure. As I say, I mostly approach this from the side of the B2B, and I don't care whether the marketing director I'm selling to is called Sandra or Christopher or Alex, whatever. That's it's not relevant. It's useful to personalize them, but actually, in terms of their buying behavior, I don't think your name. I don't even know how you go about finding that out, but I've got a strong suspicion that your name doesn't determine your buying behavior for SaaS software.
Shouldn't think so, no. Same for products as well. Well, actually, you say that. But for products, what I've seen before and when we've worked with clients, what you can actually do is, if you're a shoe company, look at your range of people that are on your database. What is the most popular name in your database? do a search on it and name your next product after that. So it could be, the Mary Jane shoe or the Kate shoe or the Rich shoe or, whatever it might be. But you could do it with, household furniture. You could actually use that data to connect into your audience as well. So again, we can look at this zero-party data in all sorts of different ways, but making sure we've got solid information. And what you're saying is so critical, because if first name isn't your business critical piece of information, don't collect it. What is it that you need to know? Now, I would suggest for kind of personalization 101 that you collect a first name or title last name, depending on how you want to address your audience, email address, and at least one piece of business critical data. So I'll give you an example of this. So a few years ago, I was at a baby and toddler show in London, and we were walking around the show, and there was a little sign from Tommy Tippy that said, "Come to our stand, sign up for our emails, and you'll receive a free gift." So my husband and I were like, right, free gift, on it. Quick, get in the queue. So we both went, we both queued up, and we both signed up for these emails. Now, I believe at the time they collected, and this is nothing against Tommy Tippy, we all do this, right? So they collected first name and email address. Okay, brilliant, got us on the email list. We went round, finished up at the show, got on the train later, and we were both looking at our emails on our phone. And we both had a welcome email from Tommy Tippy.
Nice.
Brilliant, nice tick in the box there. Now I open the email, brilliant, 10 top tips to be the best mum you can be. What a lovely train reading on the way home from the baby show. Thanks for signing up at the baby show. Here's some tips for you. Now, that's brilliant for me, but my husband got exactly the same email.
Oh dear.
Oh dear. And this is something we can all learn from, right? Because if we think about zero-party data, one piece of information they could have collected on that form is, are you mum? Are you dad? Are you auntie or uncle? Are you carer, grandparent? Who are you? And then tailor that content immediately. Because if they had have sent 10 top tips to be the best dad you can be, my husband would have enjoyed it, he would have stayed subscribed, and he actually said to me, because he unsubscribed when he received the 10 top tips to be the best mum you can be, he was like, no, not for me. But, because of that, Tommy Tippy then missed out on being able to send him information about all of the electronic whizzy gadgets and all sorts of things that they have available, that he probably would have then gone, oh, look at this, that looks cool. Send it on to me, let's go and buy it. But they missed out on that because they forgot that business critical piece of known data, of zero-party data. So think it through. Think about how you collect it. Think about what you're collecting and why you're collecting it.
Yeah, I suppose one thing that maybe they could have been done with the name, but that also has potential. People like Alex is a gender-neutral name, for example.
Exactly, it's not reliable in that sense, and you also don't know, are they mum, or are they auntie, or are they grandma, or are they from the other side as well. So for them, in my opinion, that was a piece of business critical data. So we need to look at what we've got, look at what we're gathering, how we're gathering it, and then how we're using it for personalization, segmentation, and triggering automated campaigns as well. So, should we move up the ladder? Should we go to the next one?
Let's move one step up and get to first-party data. Now, my understanding is that this is how a person interacts with your business, your platform. Is that pretty much it, or is there more to it?
Pretty much. Now, obviously, as a business, we can expand that into different areas. So, your website, that's going to be your primary one. So, what are they doing on your website? How are they interacting on your website? But of course, you've also got how are they interacting with other marketing channels that you own. So that could be email, but it could also be if you've got data from social media that you can bring in. It's your data from what's happening with your audience through there on your page, for example. So you can still bring all of that in, but it's what's happening with you and your business. So it's not, and I know I've mentioned social media there, but it's not third-party websites, as in other brands or, just other companies that they're going to. Now, I mentioned social media because it's your page that they would be interacting with, and you're getting those kind of social interactions from. So who's following your page, for example, those types of things. But it's really about anything that you have collected and tracked with that customer's permission within your entity. So website, email, they're your primary ones that you're going to be getting it from. But of course, you've got your conversion data as well. So whether you're B2B or B2C, but particularly B2C, you're going to have a lot more probably purchase and conversion data coming through. So what have they done with you before? All of this is information that you own and know about your audience. So you can use it again for segmentation, automation, personalizing those campaigns and bringing that extra layer of what have you done previously, what are you doing now? So that's the key elements of first party data.
There we go, that's the one probably most people are familiar with as the first step on the ladder.
I think so.
And the one that's probably the most developed, like when people talk about the death of cookies, what they're saying is third party cookies. Again, we'll come to third party as we move out the ladder, but there was also a thing called a first party cookie, which is when when you go on a website for the first time, it says, we use cookies to track your activity, can we do marketing cookies? Yes, that's not going to follow you to the BBC, to Facebook, to wherever else you don't go. That is just the focused marketing site or just the spotless site, and it's tracking that. That is first party data. So when people say cookies are going away, they mean a specific type of cookie, and then we're going to come to
But even with cookies, yeah, and again, I think we mentioned this in another episode. It's about, as marketers, us setting the expectations. Just saying, we're going to track you on our website, is that okay? Consumers, or anyone going onto that website is going to go, no thank you, don't want that, don't want you following me around, spamming me, following me across the internet, because there's no context to it. So again, as marketers, we've got to be so clear and benefit driven about what's in it for that person to agree for us to be able to track that data, collect that data in forms. You've got to tell them why. It's so critical, because if they don't understand what's in it for them, they don't want to do it. Or if it's only beneficial for you and your business, well, why would they do it? Why would they give you that valuable information? So if you want that information, as a marketer, you've got to get clear on what that benefit is for your audience and then let them know.
Cool, all right.
So I'm going to throw it back to you now then.
Okay.
Work our way up the ladder. Now, this is probably a very little talked about one, but what, if anything, is second party data?
Yeah, but that is the one when we were planning this episode, I had to look up. Because, everyone, 0 and second are the two no one knows about. First and third, that's pretty clear. And even I had to look it up, having been working in B2B marketing for 7 years, 8 years.
All the terminology, isn't it? It's always a new buzzword.
There is. And so second party data is like the first party data of a company that you've partnered with. So the one I keep thinking of at the moment is like the Harlequins, the rugby club I support, announced they had a new accounting software partner, which, good for them. They're building this brand through partnerships. There's a lot of, I don't understand the mechanics of sports marketing for a start, but I don't care about accounting software. I don't have my own business to run. I don't have to do my own taxes. So I don't mind that they've partnered up, but I don't want to hear lots of communications. Because I don't remember what the company's name was. That's how little I'm interested in it. I'm like, oh, Harlequins update, cool. Oh, it's accounting software. Move on. Good for them. But so I don't really necessarily want to hear if they're segmenting their market properly, then they'll find that out through the first party data. They get all the 0 party data of the kind of people that are likely to go after it. And I think it's fraught with difficulty because good partnerships, both brands bring something to the table and gain something, but not all the customers of your partner brand are going to be interested in you. If you've done it well, then there'll be a significant, the Venn diagram will be pretty close, if that's the right word. There'll be a big crossover, but it will never be everyone because there wouldn't be any value in the partnership if you're going after the exact same people with the exact same offer. So it can be useful. The way that you ask for permission for sharing second party, that's probably the real minefield that you have to get into. Say, if it's as simple as, can this accounting brand reach out to you and say this is the software that we offer? If they want, sure, I'm not going to do anything with it. But that's their problem.
It's the co-reg side, the third party opt-ins, that partnership. But again, so legally. Again, if you're in Europe, anything under GDPR, you've got to make sure that that's covered and that you're asking for that opt-in in the right way. But it's also, important to think about, like you said, the intention of that data, because look, B2B use it a lot more than B2C, and for B2C there are many reasons why you don't want to use it, and for B2B reasons why you do. But co-opted in data, third party data that's come from another company and has got a third party opt-in for it, a lot of this data is cold. Don't necessarily know that they've opted in to receive your emails, so you've got to do a lot more work as a marketer to, I think, help that second party data. And I also wonder if kind of data appending comes under second party data, where obviously the initial opt-in and permission is with you, and you've got the opt-in initially, but that additional information that's being fed in some cases, I wonder if that would come under second party.
I would imagine it depends on who you've co-opted it. Like if it's from a partner, then it's second, but if it's added on from somewhere else, then it probably falls under third.
Yeah,
so
potentially.
that you're in quite a minefield of it, understanding exactly.
I think the key thing here is be careful with any of that data, right? Because
yeah.
it's not yours. It is not. It hasn't come from you. You've got to make sure that data is legally opted in.
Yes.
And again, understand what it is that you're doing with it, where it's coming from, and then how you're communicating with the audience afterwards is going to be critical. Email and Beyond is an eFocus Marketing and Spotler production. eFocus Marketing are a specialist email marketing agency based in the UK and serving customers around the world. We help brands use email more intelligently to engage your audience through our range of consultancy, management, and training services. To find out more about how eFocus can help you supercharge your email marketing, visit e-focusmarketing.com/email and beyond. So if we take that then to the next level, so if second party data is coming in through kind of partner sign-ups, third party sign-ups, what about third party data? Where is that coming from, and what is that, and does it still exist anymore?
I'm pretty sure it does. I mean, it's...
Well, I think Google's trying to kill it, right?
But from what I've heard, it's difficult to kill off. They had flocks, and then they had cohorts was their second attempt, and both of them had holes. It's third-party cookies and third-party data. It's very much we don't like it, but there isn't anything better.
So what is it?
Okay,
in its essence, what is it?
Essence, third-party data is data gathered by an organisation that has no relationship to you whatsoever. So that's like if HSBC, the bank, went to Sainsbury's and said we want to buy the data on all the customers that buy bread in a given week, and there's no signposting on HSBC or on Sainsbury's. I'm not saying they do this, by the way, it was just two brands that came to mind that might have a shared interest.
And I guess the big example would be like Facebook, right?
Yes.
So when Facebook is gathering that data from everybody and saying, you say to Facebook, give me people who are interested in X, and then they go to their audience, their database, and say, okay, well, anyone who's visited this page or said this on their profile or follows this page or whatever it is, it's that amalgamation of that third party information from the atmosphere coming through to then target campaigns. So obviously Facebook, we've got no third party tracking on that now. Google, I think that's going through, and obviously other search engines will follow if they haven't already by the time this podcast goes live. So I think it's a really difficult one, because what it did for brands is allow them that outreach at an acquisition stage.
Yes.
When we're getting to email, we're not using third-party data for email, and we haven't really in the past. That's not how it connects in. For email, it's that zero-party, first-party, little bit of a touch on second-party in some strategies, but mainly zero and first. Whereas that third-party data really comes in the acquisition stage of the customer journey to find new people who are similar to other people that you've got, have similar behaviour across the web to people who are in your audience. You haven't got that anymore.
Exactly. If you were to start up a new bank or a new clothes shop, and you need to tell people about you, the best possible source is people that also
have done it before.
People that are fans of the existing brand that you're trying to take over. So I think third-party data started with the best possible of intentions, but look, if you're interested in Skechers, you'll probably like stuff from Reebok.
Yep.
Like, there's nothing wrong with that, because most of the time, probably true. I mean, I know there are people that have, a favourite shoe brand they will not deviate from, but most of us, I don't think, are that militant on those. So it started from a really kind of sensible place, but it's just been gone on to that thing of, Facebook can say, people that follow a particular political party and buy these things are more likely to spend more. And actually they're probably, that's probably digging into zero-party data, isn't it? Is that, if you some brands and some political affiliations, without going too much into detail, that's not the kind of part of it. And then, but your demographic does feed into that. Your age, your income bracket, where you live in the country, who your local representative is. That's actually, what is that? If obviously age and income would be zero party.
Only if it's ever been given specifically. So it may not be zero party. It may come into. Depends where they've got it from. It depends where that data's come from. If it's you and your website, it's zero party. If you're getting that information appended from somewhere else,
so
it's second or third.
If I've given someone my postcode,
that's zero party to them.
And then they've gone, okay, he's in this parliamentary constituency in the UK.
Yeah.
That's third party, because the electoral commission isn't affiliated to the business that I'm.
That'd be second or third party. Yeah, absolutely. It's confusing, isn't it?
And that's exactly what we're doing in an episode. And just help you try and unpick these things, and maybe. Hopefully what we're demonstrating, because if this is all new to you, don't panic, because we've both been doing this for quite a while, and even we have to think about it occasionally. So
it's the buzzwords, isn't it, right? What we really need to think about, in essence, is what is the data that we want to know about our customers or prospects. If we could know anything about them, what would it be, and then how do we identify that? And generally what we're looking at is it zero-party data we ask for? Or is it first-party data that we can track from somewhere on our website in our ecosystem? If legally we are allowed to add on additional, and if we don't completely lose third-party cookies, which it looks like that's the way it's going, then I think that is great additional. But I think also it's thinking about that place in the life cycle. Third-party data is great for acquisition, and we'll see what happens legally over the next year or two with that and where that ends up. But once you've got someone through, if you want to drive them from consideration to purchase to loyalty, it's the zero and first party data, what you know about them, sending right message to the right person at the right time. You have heard me say that on other episodes. But that's the core of not only email marketing, but if we think about extending that, so if we know that somebody has shown certain behaviour with our emails or on our website, we can now take that first party data of what they've done behaviourally, we can take that and pop it into Facebook to do retargeting ads on that audience. So again, we can use those platforms to feed into having an omni-channel strategy with multiple touch points where we have cohesive messages that go across it using that valuable zero and first party data.
What I think we should touch on, it's mostly a B2B thing. It's a B2B concession within GDPR, which is if you genuinely believe that someone should be a buyer of your product, you are allowed to initially contact them at a business email address.
Legitimate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is the term, and the two key things are, firstly, you have to have the target and say, Kate is a CEO of a marketing business that uses a lot of software platforms, therefore she should probably use our software. It's not, we're for everybody, so everyone should have it. That will not hold up. And secondly, the onus would be on you to prove it's a business address. So we had a handyman come around to put up a new shed in the garden, and he used a Gmail address for his business comms. That's fine. He's allowed to do that. We're allowed to target him. We're allowed to send him emails. But the point is, we have to say, we're telling him because this Gmail address is his business address. If it was his personal Gmail, can't go near it in that opt-out. And it's not on us to be like, some Gmails are, some aren't. No, we have to know. So
you have to prove it. You have to be able to prove legitimate interest. Yeah.
So this is where we're landing on third-party data, that we said it started from a good place and it can still be used in a good way. Like anything can be used or misused. That's not just a data problem. I think data is just as we said, the buzzword and the topic that's hottest around it, because so many businesses like Facebook have built their empires on using it and actually overstepped the mark.
Yeah.
So I think you have to be very clear. We said this in another episode. Well, be clear about right person, right message, right time. If I can say to you, look, I sent you this email because according to what you put in of the industry you work in and your job title, you're the kind of person that makes up 60% of our buyers. I don't think anyone's going to have much of a problem with that. They think, oh, okay, just don't email me, please. And you say, okay, sure, we won't. No. And I carried over a little bit of my background from sales, which I wasn't very good at, and hence moved to marketing. And actually, a firm no is the second best thing you get when you're doing outreach sales. A firm yes, brilliant, love it, great, give me that cash. A firm no, good, okay, take off for this new. It's the ones that are like, oh no, call me back in 6 months, and what they mean is go away, but they're too polite to say it. And you have to keep on the list, you have to keep bugging them, they have to keep telling you, and no one's actually winning from that. So having some clarity about what data we're gathering, why we're doing it, that when we use that data, how we've used it, where we've got that data from. The biggest question we get into our data controller is, where did you get my data from? And it's because we do it properly, we can say to them, this is where we got your data from. They go, oh, okay, please don't email me again. We say, cool, we won't. You only have to worry about it if you're doing something shady. And if you're doing something shady, you probably know you're doing something shady. Yeah. Most people are
stop doing it.
Yeah, stop immediately.
Yeah.
So I think as with anything, it's how you use it is the most important part. And I hope we've added some clarity to help you go away and look at the data and say, oh, actually, I always thought this was first party data, but actually it's tipping over into second, or this is actually zero, so it's even better. Just help you think about the data that you've got, what it is, what you can do with it, what you should do with it.
And how you want to gather it going forward as well, because not everything is going to be zero party known data that you ask for. You've got those other areas that you can explore. You've got your conversion data, your purchase data, behavioral data. We've got so much that we can bring into that view of our potential customer or of our current customers that we can then use to really better target them, not just through email, but through other channels as well, using our own data.
There you go. I mean, the one that brings my immediate is, where did you hear about us? That comes up quite a lot on e-commerce sites that I browse, and that's useful to know. I mean, there is Spotless software particularly that lets you tell if you've set your links up that someone's come to you from Facebook, but if you ask them, and also actually now, my next thing I want to do is go and do a little data search of what do people say, where do people say they found us, where did they actually find it? So I reckon there's a difference.
Oh, there will always be a discrepancy. And do you know what, Rich? I hate that question. It bugs me. I'm going to put it in our room email 101 episode. But when you have on forms, where did you find us? It's so subjective. And actually, as a marketer, if you've done your job right, it should be omni-channel, multi-touch points, whether it was a billboard outside, whether it was an email, whether it was something on your website, whatever it was, these all come together to have a holistic impact on what happens. And this is where attribution modelling goes wrong, because it's so difficult to attribute the impact of each of those different channels. So it's a really interesting one from that side as well.
Yeah, that's why you need to know what all the different types of data are, because you're probably using them without even thinking about it.
Absolutely. And on that note, we will have future episodes about how to use your data, but hopefully that has helped clarify a little bit as to the different types of data, going all the way from zero-party data to third-party data. So thank you so much for joining us for this episode, and we'll see you next time on Email and Beyond.
Bye. If you like this episode, please follow us on YouTube and subscribe through iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcasts.